This is Casey Jones, 1950 on YouTube. What I'm working on here today is a Proto 2000 GP7. And of course, the first thing I had to do was, common problem, replace cracked gears, all four of them. Okay, one thing I've done, when replacing the gears, I made a little jig to hold the gear and the axle, if you can see it here, in a vise. And I cut the slots in it for the axle. It's made out of 16 thousandths brass. And what you do is once you get the axles, stub axles, started in the gear, you hold this in there so that, if I can get a good shot of this, you hold the axle in there and then I squeeze them together with my Panavise. Okay, and it'll keep the bronze bearings, when you press it all the way in, from being too tight against the gear so that it won't turn. Okay, and it spaces it just about right so that when you put the gauge on it for the flanges, it's darn near perfect. Okay, might have to adjust it just a little. Also, the other thing you want to do on these things, putting a decoder in. Now I'm going to put a TCS WOW decoder in this, and I'm going to use the 21-pin motherboard, the generic board that you solder all the wires to, and then I'm going to put some Kapton tape on the top of the weight and insulate all this. You lay that in there with your 21-pin decoder on it. And I filed or ground down all these little spots here where screws go in and so forth, hold the board. Anyhow, the other thing you want to do that's kind of critical is I've marked this thing 1/4 inch from the bottom, each end. I haven't done this yet, but you want to drill about a 1/8 inch hole, so you can take a pinpoint oiler and go in there and oil that bearing if it ever goes dry. And I've had this happen and they start squealing. Anyway, once you get the decoder and everything all wired in, you don't want to have to take and pull this weight back off the frame. So if you do that before you put it back on, drill a hole in each end, then all you got to do is remove your shell, put your needle point like Lebel 108 oiler in there and oil the bearings in the trucks occasionally. And of course, before I put this back together with the new gears and everything, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Lebel 106 lube in there, okay, with PTFE, and that quiets them down nicely and everything else. So that's a little tip for you for redoing the gears and whatnot on Proto 2000 Jeeps. This is Casey Jones, 1950 on YouTube. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like if you like this video. Every little bit helps.